This is ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
You're always going to have those loyal, committed kids, but then again, you're going to have kids that are, have adopted that free agent mentality.
A new law changing the rules for school transfers goes into effect starting this fall. Students will soon be able to transfer across districts in the middle of the school year to any school with a vacancy. High school athletes are already competitive in Florida, but could the new rules make powerhouse programs close to unbeatable? And what does it mean for college recruiters? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on high school transfer rules coming up, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. And we begin tonight with a disturbing cautionary tale coming out of Tampa. Craigslist has all but replaced newspaper classifieds. It's easy, fast way to buy and sell things. No need to actually talk to a person before making a deal. And now a man is dead after being shot by 2 teenagers who showed up to buy a dirt bike through Craigslist. Police have arrested the 2 teens. Local law enforcement say this should serve as a warning to those who use the website. Sarasota police offer a list of safe locations for people to use Craigslist to make transactions. The department says meeting at one of these locations could help you prevent you from being a victim of crime.
There is either an officer or a representative from the Sarasota Police Department when our lobby is open. So there's going to be somebody that's going to be able to stand by with you as you do these online transactions with people you don't know. And so it's, again, just that extra layer of security, that extra layer of safety.
You can find a list of safe meeting places by contacting your local police department. Nearly 1,000 people overdosed in heroin in Manatee County last year alone. Now, Drug Free Manatee wants to help the community rescue future victims. The coalition is hosting an event to train people on how to use Narcan, a drug that reverses the effects of overdose. Now it is available at local pharmacies without a prescription, and you could find a list of pharmacies that sell Narcan, along with times and locations for training events on our website at mysuncoast.com. The Sarasota Police Department is giving the public an inside look at traffic enforcement. It is called Tweet from the Beat. This morning, officers took viewers through a day on the job, monitoring school zones and watching busy intersections on Fruitville Road and St. Armand Circle. Multiple drivers were pulled over for everything from speeding to wearing earbuds behind the wheel.
Even just our presence slows people down. So even if we don't necessarily write a ticket in a certain area, if we've slowed people down by simply being there, then we've done our job.
You can see more of the Tweet from the Beat by following up on SPD on Twitter and Sarasota Police. They also give out tips on laws that you may not know about. Sarasota city managers may be rolling the dice in Reno. Tom Barwin is among the final 4 to take over the same position in Nevada. Barwin was hired to manage Sarasota in 2012 after his predecessor, Bob Badalota, resigned amid allegations of computer fraud. The city isn't looking for a replacement just yet. Barwin's choice would have to be confirmed by 4 of the 7 city commissioners in Reno. A circuit court judge is tossing out a lawsuit filed by former Manatee High football coach Joe Kinnan against the former school superintendent and his investigator. Kinnan accused Rick Mills and former investigator Troy Pumphrey of slander, breach of contract, and conspiracy. He has 30 days to refile his suit. To many of us commuters, it is the bane of our very existence every morning and afternoon. So what would you like to tell the good folks at the Florida Department of Transportation about I-75? FDOT is planning to widen nearly 4 miles of the interstate in Sarasota County and build a brand new interchange at Bee Ridge Road. They want to hear from the public on Thursday, February 9th, from 2 p.m. to 3:30. Another session will take place from 5:30 to 7 at the Realtor Association of Sarasota and Manatee County on Cattleman Road.
6 more weeks of winter, it shall be.
The nation's furriest weather forecaster, aside from Bob Harrigan, is giving his prediction for the nearly 6 weeks. Punxsutawney Phil came out of his burrow today greeting his adoring fans, and yes, he did see his shadow. Since 1887, Phil has now predicted more winters 103 times, while forecasting early spring just 18 times, including last year. All that without Super Doppler Max Radar 5000. The annual event brings in more than $1 million to the town of 5,500 people this year. Now let's get a check from our own furry forecaster, Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. I wrote that myself, Bob.
That was pretty good. Absolutely. You know, the rodent does do sometimes, gets it right, but this time I don't think so. We are looking basically at a very warm winter, or at least warm February, according to the guys that do have the super duper Doppler radar. These guys are from the National Climatic Data Center, and they're predicting warmer weather all across most of the U.S., equal chances of normal conditions over the Northeast. But you can see that from Texas and also out in the western states. That should be for February, by the way. So again, we have a 33% chance of getting warmer weather here throughout the month of February, and then just a couple of weeks in March, and winter will be over. But if winter is like today, we'll take it and have it last right through the summer. That would be good. 67 degrees right now. Dew point is at 56, and winds are out of the northwest at 7. The pressure 3018, and that is rising ever so slightly, but it's still very high. Temperatures near the water into the mid-60s to even lower 60s. Cortez at 62, 70 at Sebring, and Northport, you're at 66 degrees. The evening forecast looks good. 59 degrees by 11 o'clock tonight. I don't think I've ever been told that I've got a furry, whatever.
You have good hair. All
Thanks.
right.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks a
Thank
lot,
you.
Bob. And still to come, want your student athlete to play for the best team in the district, maybe even the best team in the next district over? New rules from the Florida legislature are making it possible. Find out why some coaches are calling foul when we return.
A promise was made, a promise that hit the beaches of Normandy, a vow that captured Iwo Jima, a contract that weathered Tet, a pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq, an IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. DAV fights to keep that promise, so all veterans and their families get the benefits and support they earned. For help, visit DAV.org.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
From meeting curious lemurs to feeding big cats and hosing down rhinos, there's never a dull moment. And sometimes these amazing animals chime in.
Watch Animal Outtakes every week on ABC7.
The official Suncoast Storm team at ABC7. We're here for you.
Come meet the artists and enjoy their creations at the Lido Beach Winter Fine Art Festival. Over 100 artists and thousands of works of contemporary art in photography, glass, sculpture, jewelry, and much more. The Lido Beach Winter Fine Art Festival, Saturday and Sunday, February 4th and 5th on Lido Beach in Sarasota. Bring your sense of discovery and appreciation of the beautiful to the Lido Beach Fine Art Festival. For more information, visit ParagonArtEvents.com.
Flooring Depot has been serving Sarasota and Manatee counties for over 20 years with the best products and installation. Flooring Depot offers carpet, tile, hardwood, and more. Before you buy, give us a try. Stop by our showroom or visit us on the web at bestvaluecarpet.com.
We take high school sports pretty seriously here in Florida. We are almost an incubator for the NFL, Major League Baseball, and top college programs across the country. But high school athletes are just kids. They are amateurs, at least until now. In its infinite wisdom, our state legislature has created what some fear is a free agent system for high school athletes. ABC7's Adam Cellini reports.
Christian Kalish just signed a letter of intent to play football at the Air Force Academy. For him, this piece of paper is the culmination of 4 years in the classroom and locker room at Palmetto High School.
I've always been the type of guy to make a commitment to, once I make a commitment to something, that's my commitment.
But loyalty like that is fading among the high-caliber student athletes.
It's been a gradual process and transition, and it's only going to intensify as the new rule goes into effect.
That new rule is part of a massive education bill that goes into effect next school year. And some fear the result will be a system where high school athletes are like free agents, the best programs getting the best players year after year. Students who transfer schools will soon be immediately eligible in athletics. Students can transfer from out of the district during the controlled open enrollment period, and mid-season transfers can apply for eligibility under the previous requirements for regular open enrollment.
You're always going to have those loyal, committed kids, but then again, you're going to have kids that are, have adopted that free agent mentality and, whatever's going to help me best right now, and it's more of a short-term view or vision.
Both Manatee and Sarasota counties already have open enrollment policies that allow lenient transferring within the district. The athletic director in Sarasota County says the new laws shouldn't be a problem.
The reference to immediate eligibility doesn't just mean that somebody can walk in and take a seat. There still has to be the process of meeting additional eligibility criteria in terms of GPA and academic performance.
Students can only transfer to schools that have room, and students who live in the district will have priority over those who live outside of our counties.
If you live within Sarasota County, you would then be given, through this lottery system, a preference.
Still, the concerns remain. Will players in all sports flock to the schools boasting top-notch facilities and state championships like Manatee High School? Head football coach John Booth says no more than normal.
Out-of-county students, I've been told, are going to be ones that are kind of on the bottom end of the priority. We have our normal school choice ebb and flow that naturally kind of already exists.
That ebb and flow isn't a problem for programs like Manatee, but down the road, John Bazoons can feel the pressure growing to find and keep top players.
We have 3 in the program right now that have openly said that they, want to transfer to a different school within Manatee County.
Bazoons didn't win a game in his first full season at Bayshore High School, and it's getting harder to convince young players to see the long-term goals.
You could have a kid as a freshman that plays really well, and then he might not be there next year because he just decides he wants something different. He might come back, he might not. It's the game of leapfrog, and it's kind of crazy as a head coach.
The law didn't just open up eligibility, though. It also gives the FHSAA more power to punish schools and coaches who recruit. Fines and bans will be more severe, and agents won't need as much evidence to drop the hammer. But in that, Coach Marino finds another challenge.
There's still going to be the situation where a parent may be misled as to what the program really has to offer because coaches can't really tell you too much because then it's deemed as recruiting. And so, parents are going to have to really do their due diligence and do their homework.
Now, while private schools won't be monitored by school district athletic directors, they will be held to the same recruiting restrictions as public schools if they are members of the FHSAA. Alan, back to you.
Adam, thank you. And coming up in the moment, we'll hear from a county athletic director and a school athletic director on the new system. Stay with us. We are taking it to the trapezoid.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to save a life? Find out by donating platelets at Suncoast Blood Bank.
I'm Haley Wilgus, ABC7. Platelets aid in the clotting process and are vital in the treatment of cancer and surgical patients, trauma victims, and critically ill newborns. It's tough to keep enough on the shelves because they only last 5 days. To donate, call this number or visit scbb.org and you can help save a life.
ABC7 congratulates Suncoast Blood Bank on 65 years of serving our community.
Why do I run? I think life's a journey. Every step brings me closer to my goal. I run to see the world, and when you're surrounded by so much beauty, how could it not take your breath away?
Join us at Robinson Preserve Friday, March 31st at 6:30 p.m. for our 9th annual Twilight 5K and 10K race. At one of the most beautiful scenic race courses in Florida. This race will leave you breathless.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names. They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
Call right now to get your free Senior Care Compass ebook. Find out about the 5 best-kept secrets on financing senior care and assisted living.
Call now, 800-290-0352. 800-290-0352.
I heard about the Dotoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
Welcome back. So why are the rules on transfers changing? Last April, Governor Rick Scott signed a sweeping education bill creating a massive easing of the rules for school choice. Lawmakers and education advocates said at the time it would give parents the opportunity to pick the best school for their child. But critics say it will hurt schools, losing students, diluting the values of their taxes for the district, and disrupting growth efforts. Of course, it will also have a major impact on young athletes, allowing them to transfer even in the middle of a season. So how will we be impacted by here on the Suncoast? And joining us for more on the new rules is Bethany King, Athletic Director for the Sarasota County School District, and Pete Dombrowski, the Athletic Director for Venice High School. Thank you both for joining this. And I know, as you saw in Adam's story, there are a tremendous amount of different opinions about this. You have coaches like Adam interviewed who say that he's going to have a hard time keeping good players on his team because they see the bright lights maybe another district over and think that they're going to be seen more there. Is that what some coaches are telling you? I'm sure they're talking to you. I'm sure parents are talking to you.
I have coaches talking. Of course, coaches are going to talk because if you're the receiving school, you're looking at, are we going to get an athlete? If you're at the other end of a coach whose students are leaving because you're not successful this year, it bothers you that I'm going to work a year with this child, get him in the weight room, and I don't know if he'll be there next year. And of course the parents are looking, and there's not much you can tell a parent because of FHSA and the recruiting. Parents do call, they want to talk to the coach. We don't allow them to talk to the coach because that would be the recruiting rule. But they're out there doing their homework, and I think it's more going to be the parents' decision on where they want to go.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. A lot of the calls from the parents then end up at the district level because we can answer some more global questions from that perspective. But there is a misconception, I would say, in terms of it being a free agency, because parents think that they can have this athletic ability to access a school of their choice, not recognizing that they also have to have capacity or the availability wherever you access your academics. In turn comes your athletic access.
Let's separate some fact and fiction because, and I'll full disclosure, my son is a senior at a public high school and he plays baseball. And also, full disclosure, as an investigative reporter, I broke the story of a state championship football team who was stripped of its state title because they were using football players who illegally transferred from other cities. And what I experienced in both these roles is that you've had athletes who have worked hard for 4 years on whatever team they're on, and all of a sudden they're big-footed by the big, great, player that comes in from out of town after 4 years of work. The student is not happy, the parent is not happy, and you're the folks who have to deal with it.
But that's been a situation since school choice, whether the athlete came from school D to school B and bumped out the student athlete in school B because he was a better player who didn't go through the Little League, didn't go through the middle school, just decided because the state instituted school choice within the county. That has been occurring. Now it's just going to open up that now they're coming from outside your county.
Right, but when there have been allegations of illegal transfers, and not to get down to the weeds, but what the Florida High School Athletic Association has already used to mandate was it had to be a full incomplete move. If you lived in Tampa and transferred to Sarasota, you had to sell your house in Tampa, you had to end utilities, move your furniture. And people were getting around that,
well, there are some
or at least
exceptions.
trying. And the state had investigators who actually went out and investigated those things. Not so much anymore.
Well, after the Lakeland incident, where the legislature kind of took a little more power from the FHSA because of the investigations that were going on, they didn't feel was fair. I think the FHS stepped back from doing that.
Right, and Bethany, what happened there was parents in Lakeland complained to their state senator, who led a 4 or 5 year effort to actually change the law in Florida, and that's in fact what happened.
Mm-hmm. I think that in Sarasota County we have a good check and balances system that allows us to be more proactive in terms of ensuring that those full and complete moves take place. The FHSA has adjusted their policy somewhat to allow for the understanding and the changing in society in terms of children living in multiple households and what that looks like. They have expanded their thoughts. Their policy has adjusted somewhat.
But they still slip through the cracks. If they
Correct.
want to get in, they're going to get in.
And we have less than a minute here, but you do have situations where, let's say you have divorced parents. It is quite legal for a student to move from one parent's house to another house, maybe in a more preferable district.
Yes,
and
especially with 50-50.
That's always been the case.
And we have some checks and balances, like I said, in terms of making sure that students do truly reside in the address that they say that they reside in, and that they access again their academic program at their.
And I want to get more into that when we come back. We're just getting started. There's more to our discussion on school transfer rules coming up right after a check on our forecast. So stay with us.
Attention! This is an important message for anyone who has taken Xarelto or Pradaxa. If you or a loved one took the blood thinner medication Xarelto or Pradaxa and was then hospitalized for internal bleeding, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to serious, even fatal internal bleeding. If you suffered a stroke, heart attack, or serious internal bleeding, or if a loved one died after taking Xarelto or Pradaxa, call us now. Our network of attorneys have years of experience fighting the big pharmaceutical companies and is ready to fight for you. Potential claims are being reviewed for users of Xarelto or Pradaxa who have suffered severe bleeding or hemorrhaging, stroke, or even death. Our network of experienced attorneys is ready to fight for you. You won't pay a thing unless your case is settled. Call today for a free confidential consultation. Don't fight this alone.
Please call 800-928-6604. That is 800-928-6604.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
If you're depressed, drinking, and using drugs, you may need help. And the Affordable Care Act guarantees coverage of substance abuse. Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment.
I had problems just getting to sleep, drinking and using pills every night.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Are you losing hope? You can recover and get back on track. Call now for hope and help with proven, gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I have something to hold on to for strength. I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares.
Call 1-800-764-8708. That's 1-800-764-8708.
Peace of mind is really crucial. The safety and security of this higher level of care, I think, is really important. Great nurses, great doctors, technologies that can really help when you are dealing with complications, high-risk newborns, or the infants that have medical conditions. This is the kind of care that we want at our public hospital.
Our discussion of school transfers continues in a moment, but right now let's get a check on our forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Well, it doesn't matter what that groundhog says. We could take 6 more weeks of winter here if it's like today. It's beautiful out there. 70, low 70s are the coast, mid to upper 70s inland areas, and a perfect sunset tonight. Casey Key, Fred Seeger getting this, a nice shot just before the sun dipped below the horizon. And speaking of Casey Key, here's a webcam that's out there showing flat, calm conditions, really seas running less than 2 feet. And that's a result of a large dome of high pressure, which continues to hang pretty close to us now. And it looks as though we will see another gorgeous day tomorrow and maybe just a couple degrees warmer. You can see what's happening. We have a cold front to the north of us right here. It's not moving much. It's moving more west to east. There is a slight drop to the south, but high pressure off the coast here is going to continue to dominate our weather. We'll block this from entering into our weather picture anytime soon. In fact, it's going to fall away and fall apart, I should say, over north central Florida on throughout the day, Friday and Saturday. 67 degrees right now. We have fair skies and the dew point temperature is at 56. That number is going to be in mild conditions tonight. Low temperatures will be into the mid 50s as opposed to the low 50s. The humidity 68%. The barometer way up there, 3018, and that is holding steady right now. The high today was right at the average, and so was the low. It does not happen very often that you get that, but it did happen today. 84 the record set back in 2006 and below freezing in 1980. And if we get 2 weeks into February, typically our freeze danger is over. So, and it looks like, well, at least for the next week, it's going to be relatively warm here. Today, no rainfall to report. And for the month, we're below average. We could use a little bit of rain. We're not going to get much. There's another front that'll get close to us by Thursday of next week, bringing a chance for a few showers. 67 in Tallahassee right now. Temperature the same in Venice, 69 in Arcadia, 66 in Sebring, and the Gulf water temperature at 67. Typically, the Gulf water temperature at this time of year is right around 59, 60 degrees. So you get the picture. It's much warmer out there than usual. Northeast to northwest winds tomorrow, 5 to 10 knots. And if you plan on boating over the weekend, similar conditions anticipated. A light chop on the bays and inland waters, so good boating weekend. Water temperature at 67 degrees. I mentioned that. 74 for beaches. We'll see highs around 80 degrees or close to it east of I-75, away from the little sea breeze that develops tomorrow in the afternoon. Tides upcoming. Low tide will be 11:43 for Sarasota Bay. Another one at 11:14. That should be a.m. Sunrise will be at 7:15. The forecast tonight, warmer than it has been, a little bit above average, mostly fair, patchy fog. That fog can be rather thick in some areas, especially away from the water. Mostly sunny tomorrow, patchy fog early, then we'll have a high of 76 degrees, so a little bit warmer tomorrow. East winds turn to the west, keeping things a bit cooler near the beaches. And the extended forecast, well, there it is. If that's winter, I'll take that all year long. Al will be right back after this.
You're going to need me. You're going to need us. All of us. You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food. You're going to need our determination, our compassion. You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring. And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
The color in my garden keeps the pink in my cheeks. I was very independent and thought I could take care of myself. I fell and I had to have Meals on Wheels. They're my savior. My name is Lola Silvestri. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
If you want 24/7 access to ABC7's breaking news stories, weather forecasts, traffic alerts, health reports, Suncoast View, and more ABC7 programming, now there's good news. Introducing the free ABC7 channel on Amazon Fire TV. Your 24/7 access to ABC7. Just search ABC7 on the streaming device and download the free ABC7 channel app. Or if you don't have an Amazon Fire TV, you can get one at Amazon.com.
Come meet the artists and enjoy their creations at the Lido Beach Winter Fine Art Festival. Over 100 artists and thousands of works of contemporary art in photography, glass, sculpture, jewelry, and much more. The Lido Beach Winter Fine Art Festival, Saturday and Sunday, February 4th and 5th on Lido Beach in Sarasota. Bring your sense of discovery and appreciation of the beautiful to the Lido Beach Fine Art Festival. For more information, visit ParagonArtEvents.com.
Whether a family member needs a little extra help around the house, assistance recovering from a hospital stay, or someone to check in on them throughout the week, Right at Home's in-home care is the answer. Your loved one deserves the right care, and now we need caregivers to help give the right care for the right reasons, the right way. At Right at Home, we're one of the only private home health agencies in this area with the opportunity to earn paid time off. If you're someone who loves helping people, take a look at our website and click on Jobs to join our team today.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are discussing a change to Florida law enabling students to transfer to just about any school for any reason. Many fear it would create a free agency system for high school athletes. Joining us for more on this topic is Bethany King, District Director, Athletic Director at Sarasota County Schools, and Pete Dombrowski, the Athletic Director for Venice High School. And Bethany, you were telling me that you have a system in place to make sure that those transferring to Sarasota County schools live where they say that they are going to live. How does that work?
Correct. So we have those who don't participate in the controlled open enrollment choice policy or the opportunity, the window available to them, and they show up after that. So let's say at the beginning of the school year in August, they show up with their registration paperwork at each of our traditional high schools. They are going to be required to produce residency documents as part of the registration process. At that point in time, if you don't have a utility bill, a lease, something to show that you do reside at that address, but you're rather using an affidavit or some kind of temporary custodian or guardianship, that's going to hit a red flag immediately.
Right, but in the past, people have, from time to time, falsified those documents. So is anybody going out there to actually check the home?
Correct. That's our front line.
I mean, so that's reality.
It is, and that is our front line, the registrar, with informing the parent and whatnot of the policies. And then we do have truancy workers, and we often utilize other school-based staff or district-based staff to go out and do multiple attempts at residency checks to confirm it's not just a one-time that we're seeing, oh, you live here today and we won't come back again.
Now, Pete, is there a misnomer among parents and athletes alike that they have to get to this particular high school if they want to be noticed by a Division I team or a Major League team? I remember the famous quote from Urban Meyer, the football coach, if you're good, we're going to find you.
But parents, they believe that if the more exposure, the further you go on in a district, regional to a state championship, the less teams playing, the more your child's going to get noticed. And they do believe that. They believe that if they're a better team, more people come. And it's just, as we discussed, most of the scouting does take place during a club ball where a scout can look at 30 teams at one setting instead of coming to see one athlete at one game like when we were younger.
There's also the pull of a kid and a parent who may want to put themselves in the position to win a state championship just like the pros. That's why free agents go to certain teams.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, the recognition. I have a ring at home from state championship baseball, which we've won a few of them, that they get bigger and nicer, and it's, people see it and say, is that a World Series ring? It's what they go after. It's a recognition, and it's something that they'll have forever.
So address for a moment the reservation that you saw from the coach in Adam's story, that there may be situations for some kids who are transferring from school to school to school in search of that starting position, in search of that championship ring. And in effect, is this really good for the youngster and his high school experience?
I think it's important to really grasp that the opportunity for transfer out under the House bill exists, but we also have to know that there's seats available. So when you look at some of the schools, and traditionally for us, we've had a few of our schools that just haven't had seats available because the students who live or reside in that attendance zone area are holding those seats. So it's important to know that you may want to seek out that best opportunity, but there may not be available seats.
The bottom line is education. When you take a child and move from school to school in the middle of a semester, where is he in math class at school A compared to math class school B? So we're losing perspective that they're a student first, athlete second. So that's what concerns me, is are they going to be on time to graduate, or are they going to fall behind? Without that too, well, you're not stepping on a field at all either.
Right, but we've all dealt with these parents and the kids who will want to do this at all costs.
Oh, they do, and I've had parents come in and I say right before any investigation, if you're falsifying this, you understand your child will be ineligible for 1 year. I'm just letting you know, I'm going to go check your address. I'm going to come in, is this your address? I'm going to tell them up front right away, here's the rule, because some parents don't know the rule. So if you're going to come in and tell me you live here, where I've heard rumors, we have suspicions, face right there, then you need to go get your driver's license changed, which if you falsify a driver's license, I believe it is a federal felony.
Right. You know, this does happen not only in Florida, but you could find articles all around the country of similar things happening, including in Texas, you know, which, you know, is famous for its Friday nights. But the question that we all have to answer is, where does this go? Because obviously, you know, it used to be you go to whatever school that you are districted for, and we're definitely getting away from that.
When we grew up, it's turned into a college. And it would be nice. I've had coaches tell me there has to be a way when they transfer, do they do like college? You transfer, you sit out a year, which you can't do in high school. You have 4 years to graduate. You know, there right now there isn't a good policy, I believe, that curtails this. I mean, growing up, you're learning that you're committed to something. When you're committed to that school and you see it all the way out, you learn through life into your adulthood, commitment.
Right, and this is true, Bethany, with all sports. We're not just talking about baseball or football. We're talking about basketball. We're talking about softball. We're talking about
golf, tennis, cross country, track. It's across the board.
So, understanding what the state has done with these transfer rules, is there anything that you would wish that state legislators would do to either take some of the crazy out of this or tighten things up?
I think for us, I think that some other school districts may have been at a little bit more of a disadvantage than we here in Sarasota County. I feel that we're always pretty innovative and trend-setting in terms of looking at what could be coming. We're always looking for the best opportunities, like Pete mentioned, number one, academics, secondarily, athletics and extracurricular opportunities for our students. So for us in Sarasota County, we already had this controlled open enrollment policy available to our students. The difference now is that it expands out for other people to come outside of our county to take advantage of the many programs that we have available. The important piece to recognize, though, is as a resident in Sarasota County, you're always going to have that preference, that number one preference. So I think if we look at changes that coming down the line, I would really hope that it would remain the same, that if you reside in that county, you're able to continue with having that first preference.
We have less than a minute left, but I would imagine it's tough enough situation if you have somebody coming from a competing district within the county, but if you're coming from another county and somebody's taking your kid's place, I would imagine a lot of parents are going to go nuclear.
That's, yeah, they do. And that's part of it. But what I tell them, call your legislature. We did not make these rules. These are rules that we were handed. And whether we agree with them or not, I know when we were growing up, you were at the school where you lived and you stayed at that school. But due to changes, legislature changes, and that's why I tell the parents, if you don't like it, write a letter, make a phone call. We didn't make the rules.
All right, let's take a quick break, and when we return, we'll have final thoughts from our guests, plus what some of our viewers are saying about a bill to allow firearms in airport terminals. Stay with us.
2 years ago, my son was born. Now he's running, playing, and learning to speak. When I look at him, I can't help but to see how free he is. I want my son to have the same freedom when he grows up. Protect our freedom of speech, not just for us, but for the future generations.
Every person is different and every real estate deal is unique. That's why experience matters. I enjoy guiding my customers through the process of buying or selling a home because there's so much that can happen. I want them to enjoy the real estate experience as much as I do. I'm Eric Schrock with SWC Properties. I love being in real estate.
If you're not in control, then who is? Live above the influence.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View. I'm Stephanie Roberts on Suncoast View, a dog fashion show from Wolfgang Bakery, plus the Super Bowl Inside Scoop and Harry's Continental Kitchen. Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
Check out mysuncoast.com/dining, your guide to the foodie lifestyle.
The official salon of ABC7.
Welcome back. The new rules for school transfers go into effect at the start of next year. What kind of impact will they have on our students? Our guests join us now for final thoughts. Bethany, speak for a moment to the parent watching this tonight who can't wait to try to transfer their kid out to that school they want to go to, and speak to the parent who may be fearful that their kid is going to lose their position.
Absolutely. So the primary focus for anyone who's looking to transfer into or take advantage of the controlled open enrollment policy is to understand that that window is for a very short period of time. So you have in Sarasota County the end of February through mid-March to get your documentation into the school district office to take advantage of that policy. As we discussed earlier in the program, making sure that you understand as a resident in Sarasota County, as a resident of that school that your child is currently attending, your spot will never be taken over by someone who is not already districted to that. So making sure that parents understand if you're looking to transfer in, take advantage of the window of opportunity, because when it closes for the next school year.
And Pete, again, speak to that player out there or that parent who thinks by transferring to Venice High School and if they play baseball that they're not only going to get the opportunity to play baseball there, but they have a much better chance to get drafted or play Division I.
I think any school that's competitive, that's been successful, that has moved student athletes on to the next level, those parents will see that. It's very competitive. There's not any reassurance just because your child steps on that field and plays at a school like Venice High School, Riverview High School, Booker High School, that they're going to go on in that prospective sport. It's not a guarantee, and you have to do your homework. Like we said, number one thing is education. Is it a school? Does it offer your child the best opportunity? Because as we know, athletics doesn't last forever.
Okay. Before we go, we want to share with you what some of our viewers are saying about last night's topic, guns in airports. Last month, a gunman killed 5 people at Fort Lauderdale International Airport in the wake of the shooting. Many are looking for answers, and State Senator Greg Stubbe has an idea. More guns. He's filing legislation to allow Floridians with concealed carry permits to bring their weapons into airport terminals. And we asked you what you think of this proposal. Chris Barlow writes, of course they should be allowed to. Many people carry a firearm at all legal locations, restaurants, churches, shopping, and almost no issues. It's a gun-free zone where mass shooters go to kill people. Jeff Vermillion writes, he is a delusional gun nut. We don't need more guns. We need more sworn police officers. And Lorraine Tyner writes, wow, well, he won't be getting my vote at re-election. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation about tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/news@7. And FYI, want to watch past roundtable discussions? They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Thanks to our guests for being here tonight. Bethany King is District Athletic Director for Sarasota County Schools, and Pete Dombrowski is the Athletic Director at Venice High School. When we return, we'll have a final look at your weather. Plus, for the people, John Morgan might be interested in being the next governor of Florida. Find out why the attorney from all those TV ads is considering a run for governor. The details in our primetime headlines.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast.
Hello, I'm Jacqueline Matter.
And I'm Adam Cellini. Heart disease is the #1 killer of both men and women in the United States, but there are things you can do to protect yourself.
Tomorrow on Good Morning Suncoast, we'll speak with and get advice from a cardiologist. John?
High pressure again brings us beautiful weather. We'll talk about the next chance of rain bright and early.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need
the Debt Ninja.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS, you could be facing wage garnishments, levies, liens, property seizure, cancellation of business license, closure of business. The Debt Ninja fights your IRS debt. That's why you need
the Debt Ninja.
The Debt Ninja has found the best companies in the country who are on your side to fight debt. Want to learn if you qualify for the IRS Financial Hardship Program? Stop the IRS from garnishing your wages. Even if your bank account has been seized, if you have undeclared taxes, if you have existing IRS debt, it's not too late to call, so grab your phone now. Call the Debt Ninja at 800-945-0083. That's 800-945-0083. Settle your IRS debt to get the power of
the Debt Ninja.
Dial this number now, 800-945-0083.
Ideologue. I am an originalist.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in just a moment, but first let's get a final check on our forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Well, I'll tell you what, looking at the this morning, seeing Punxsutawney Phil, they said there's going to be 6 more weeks of winter. Well, we take it. We can take it here. It's been beautiful. Casey Key webcam showing beautiful calm conditions out there over the waters. The seas running less than 2 feet. And great boating weather anticipated on Friday. And looks like it will continue through the weekend. So if you've been stuck in work all week and wanting to go out there and do some fishing or just boating, it looks to be really good on both Saturday and Sunday. Now, there's some showers to the north of us. These showers will not have an impact on our weather. They are providing us with a little bit of cloudiness right now. But all in all, high pressure will continue to keep our skies generally fair, 67. And that's the temperature. Dew point temperature, 56, a little higher tonight. Winds out of the northwest at 7. The pressure, 3018. That's high, and that continues to hold steady for the most part. And temperature, the high today was normal at 72 degrees. This morning's low, that too, right at 53. 31 the record, and that was set back in 1980. Zip on the rainfall. And so far for this year and for this winter, it's been a relatively dry winter. 60 in Jacksonville, 68 in Orlando now, 72 now in Miami and in Key West and around town. All in the 60s now, 68 in Northport, 64 Braden, Sarasota, 66 in Inglewood. And the water temperature warm, 67 degrees. Forecast looks nice overnight. The only thing we may see, some fog forming. It'll be rather thick in some areas too, especially inland near some of those controlled burns in Highlands and also into DeSoto and Hardy counties. Temperatures will start off into the mid-50s but warm up quickly into the mid-70s by late morning, early afternoon. Well, here comes the front. Normally during this time of year, fronts do make it through, but since the low pressure area is so far removed from it, it's not going to get a good push behind it, and it's going to fade away just to our north. We may see a little increase in cloudiness on Saturday. Not much, just a little bit, but warm temperatures will persist. The cool air is still bottled up well to our north. And as far as that goes, the rest of the U.S., not a lot going on except for the west. That's where they're getting this huge winter storm again. And talk about bad winter. This is where it's been. It's been in California, also into Oregon and into Washington, as well as into Idaho and Nevada. Well, temperatures, the extreme Arctic air is still to the northern plains and northern Rockies right now. Not too bad in Cleveland. Washington's been kind of warm, 42, 55 in Atlanta, and 46 now into Dallas. I mentioned the boating weather looks to be good, and that's the way it's going to stay, too, for the foreseeable future. Seas running 1 to 2 feet with a light chop on the bays and inland waters. Tides upcoming just before midnight. A low tide. We'll have another one at 11:14 tomorrow morning. That should read again. Warmer, 55 for your low. Mostly fair, patchy fog. Tomorrow, baseball, not too far off either. Mostly sunny, 76. And this warm winter continues for us with highs in the mid to upper 70s right through Thursday of next week. Primetime headlines. We'll be right back with Alan. Stick around.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7, your Suncoast News.
Wearing red to support women's fight against heart disease in HealthSmart.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Attention!
This is an important message for anyone who has taken Xarelto or Pradaxa. If you or a loved one took the blood thinner medication Xarelto or Pradaxa and was then hospitalized for internal bleeding, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to serious, even fatal internal bleeding. If you suffered a stroke, heart attack, or serious internal bleeding, or if a loved one died after taking Xarelto or Pradaxa, call us now. Our network of attorneys have years of experience fighting the big pharmaceutical companies and is ready to fight for you. Potential claims are being reviewed for users of Xarelto or Pradaxa who have suffered severe bleeding or hemorrhaging, stroke, or even death. Our network of experienced attorneys is ready to fight for you. You won't pay a thing unless your case is settled. Call today for a free confidential consultation. Don't fight this alone.
Please call 800-928-6604. That is 800-928-6604.
Attention small business owners. Penn Funding announces the easiest and fastest business funding program, the Platinum Business Account.
We needed cash fast. Business is good, but this is an emergency. We needed some new equipment, and the banks wouldn't help us.
At Penn Funding, we like to say, yes, you're approved. With your Platinum Business Account, you could qualify for up to $50,000 or more. This amazing new business account funding program is so effective, you could have the cash you need in just days.
I called, spoke with an agent who pre-qualified us, and connected me.
Call now for your Platinum Business Account. If you've been in business for at least 6 months, you could qualify for up to $50,000 or more in just days.
I called Penn Funding and had my money fast.
Need cash for your business? Call Penn Funding now.
Call 800-658-3433. 800-658-3433.
Come out to the best party of the season, the Goodwill Mardi Gras Gala on February 28th at Michael's on E. Tickets at experiencegoodwill.org.
Now for a look at your primetime headlines. President Trump is defending his tough talk with world leaders, and his newly sworn-in Secretary of State starts his first day on the job. ABC's Stephanie Ramos is following the latest from our nation's capital.
After some heated exchanges with world leaders recently, President Trump says his tough talk won't stop.
It's time we're going to be a little tough, folks. We're taken advantage of by every nation in the world virtually.
Trump has taken on countries like Mexico, now Iran and Australia.
I love Australia as a country, but we had a problem.
Trump referring to a deal made under the Obama administration to resettle refugees rejected by Australia, allowing them in the U.S. from 2 remote Pacific islands. After an early morning tweet calling it a dumb deal, the president opted for a softer tone for the cameras.
A previous administration does something, you have to respect that. But you can also say, why are we doing this? That's why we're in the jams that we're in.
Over the weekend, Trump spoke with Australia's Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull over the phone, hours after Trump's executive order banning some refugees to the U.S. indefinitely was announced.
The Trump administration has committed to progress with the arrangements to honour the deal, if you like, that was entered into with the Obama administration, and that was the assurance the president gave me when we spoke on the weekend.
On his first day in office,
hi, I'm the new guy.
Secretary of State Rex Tillerson walked into a packed lobby at the State Department, trying to calm concerns stemming from the new administration.
We're on the same team. We share the same mission. Honesty will undergird our foreign policy, and we'll start by making it the basis of how we interact with each other.
And the Treasury Department is tweaking President Obama's sanctions on Russia, the ones in response to the election hack. The White House says this is routine to go back and look at sanctions imposed that may affect businesses in the U.S. Stephanie Ramos, ABC News, Washington.
Now to California, where overnight riots on the UC Berkeley campus are forcing the school to cancel a visit from a controversial speaker. Hundreds were out last night protesting an appearance by Milo Yiannopoulos of Breitbart News, a self-proclaimed right-wing internet troll. Demonstrators threw smoke bombs, broke windows, and sparked a massive bonfire. One Trump supporter was even pepper sprayed.
We will not tolerate racism or sexism.
I decided to come to see if I could get in, see what he had to say, and see the marketplace of free speech ideas come about. And it just got shut down by a bunch of people in black bloc,
Yiannopoulos said on Facebook he had to be evacuated. Quote, "The left is terrified of free speech." In a tweet today, President Trump suggested the school should lose its federal funds. But police chief said no Berkeley student was involved in the violent behavior and vandalism. We're learning more about the month's deadly shooting at Fort Lauderdale Airport. 911 calls are being released. Records show dispatchers first believe there may have been multiple shooters, causing confusion. As law enforcement responded, alleged shooter Esteban Santiago is accused of killing 5 people and wounding 6 others. Santiago could face the death penalty if convicted. Governor Rick Scott is heading to Argentina in an effort to build trade relations with the South American nation. Scott is expected to take the 5-day trip in late April as a way to open doors for Florida-based companies seeking business abroad. This will be his 13th trip abroad since becoming governor in 2011. Scott has previously taken economic development trips to Brazil, Colombia, and Chile, as well as Japan, Israel, England, France, Spain, Canada, and Panama. Governor Scott also wants to increase the number of state employees as part of his budget proposal. Under his plan, more than 300 jobs would be added, the majority in the Department of Corrections. While Scott doesn't want to raise wages for all state employees, he said there should be eligible for performance bonuses of up to $1,500.
I wish that, the legislature would go through that. Look, we have great state workers. You really have to thank people for what they do. There are people that work in state government on a mission. They really try to do their job really well. So I think we've got to make sure we pay them well.
Florida lawmakers begin their session on March 7th. Prospective candidates are beginning to vie to be the next governor of Florida after leading the charge to legalize medical marijuana. Orlando lawyer John Morgan is now considering a run for the state's top job in 2018. Morgan spoke at a Tiger Bay Club meeting in Tallahassee this morning. In addition to supporting legal marijuana, he wants to increase minimum wage, cut funding to charter schools, close for-profit prisons, while supporting business leaders. Morgan says his name recognition and wealth give him an advantage.
I have the great luxury of being able to say exactly what I think, exactly what I feel, and if it doesn't catch on, my life is the same life. I don't have to walk down the middle of the road.
Florida Agriculture Secretary Adam Putnam and Tampa Mayor Bob Buckhorn, former Congresswoman Gwen Graham, and Miami Beach Mayor Phil Levine are among those also considering a run for governor. Another election is quickly approaching, so it is a good time to remind everyone to make sure that they are registered to vote. Sarasota County elections are scheduled for Tuesday, March 14th. The races include a special primary for the city of Northport, Sarasota City Commission, and general election for the town of Longboat Key. Voters need to be registered by Monday, February 13th. Applications are available at all election offices, public libraries, and public assistance offices. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.